Good evening and welcome to JB Investigates, where I get to the bottom of things that are perturbing me in the game of football. And I've got to be honest, referees at the moment are people are a breed, especially in the Premier League and in the English leagues, that are really perturbing me at the moment. As you know, I'm a Burnley fan, and my team were on the end of some rank decisions from Kevin Friend of Leicestershire only on Saturday. But and of course Leeds were the victims of a bad referee decision when Danny James was brought down. Watford should have had a penalty in the same game. Free kick was given against, and then there was Paul Tierney on Sunday. When is it going to get to the stage where referees should be held to account? It is absolutely preposterous that they don't even come out in the media afterwards and explain to people, explain to us, the fans, explain to the media, explain to people around who watch the game week in, week out, why they make these decisions. VAR, another contentious thing. Yeah, apparently VAR is now clearing the game up. Yeah, it's starting to clean up its act, but it's still being used wrongly by the people involved. And again, that has got to be a debate as well. Is VAR being utilised right now? We saw during the European Championships how well VAR can be utilised, certainly by officials outside of the UK. UEFA have got a good system in place. FIFA, when they have their VAR at the World Cup, I'm sure it's going to be fine. We saw it in 2018, it worked well. But in England, it has not worked so well. And I don't think it's the technology that's the problem. I think it's the people that are using the technology that is the problem, namely the referees and officials. The current breed, I've got to be honest, and I've got to be honest, I don't want to beat about the bush and say that. And I'm not. It's not a question of being kind. It's a case of these referees have got to accept criticism. Some of the decisions by some of the referees and the VAR referees this weekend just gone at Turf Moor, at Ellen Road, and at Anfield especially, was, I'm afraid, completely and utterly unacceptable. The referees in those three games must hang their heads in shame. I don't know who the referee with the Leeds one was, but I'll soon find out. But what it does do is open up a can of worms, really. That referees should be held accountable. Now, before I go on and start ranting and raving about the decisions and things like that, I just want to make it absolutely vehemently clear, and I mean that in the nicest sense of the word. I want to make it crystal clear that it is a very difficult job to referee any sports fixture, whether it's football, golf, rugby or whatever. It is nigh on difficult. And of course there was some VAR decisions as well at Chelsea as well, but it's Leeds and Watford and things like that I want to concentrate on here. I just want to know who the referee was, but I should make it completely clear that it is very, very difficult for a referee to referee a football game. Simon Hooper was the referee, incidentally, at Ellen Road. Right, anyway, let's talk about these decisions. I'm going to start at Turf Moor, where my team, of course, was Burnley. We were playing Norwich, big 6-pointer. I know it's early doors to be saying a 6-pointer, but it was a game that Burnley needed to win, considering that they were robbed of 2 points at Leicester the week before, and they were robbed. Chris Wood's goal was marginally onside, and it should have been given as such. There are 4 grounds of gripes that I have. The first one, the Tim Krul one. Okay, that's the first contentious decision. Ball gets whipped in from the right hand side by Westwood. Krul comes for the ball, completely is beaten out, jumped by Vidra, and Krul completely bang poleaxes him. And there's no two ways about it. It's a clear penalty. It's also violence from the goalkeeper as well. He's no intention of getting the ball. He's got no chance of getting the ball, but he's got lots of chance of hitting Vidra over. And he showed no remorse, and I thought that was disgraceful behaviour from him. In my opinion, I think Kevin Friend should have gave a penalty. He should have booked Krul, if not sent him off. In fact, I would have sent him off. That's just me being biased, but that's how I feel, and I'm not changing it. I mean, if this sort of thing was seen on the street, Krul would be serving time. It's absolutely preposterous. Definite penalty, definite card, whether it's yellow or red, preferably red, because it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's a definite penalty in my eyes, and you know how Friend hasn't spotted it, I don't know. There were two more penalties that we possibly should have had. There was There was two clashes between Grant Hanley and Matej Vydra. Hanley clearly, Vydra trying to keep the ball in by the byline. Hanley completely pushes him like that. We know he's a thug, Hanley, from his days at Blackburn. We know he's a bit of a over physical thug. That was a penalty as far as I'm concerned. Referee didn't even review. And by the way, none of the decisions he made were referred by VAR, and Craig Pawson was the man in charge of that, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe when he'd not referred them to VAR. That's what it's there to eradicate the mistakes. Kevin Friend must be an absolute idiot. And then there was a second one where he trips him, where he trips Vydra. Is it a penalty? It's a definite foul. Is it a penalty? Is it outside the box? Is it a free kick? 50-50. Either way, it should have been a foul. Okay? And the fourth contentious decision was when Max Aarons, in the second half, Taylor's got in towards the byline, and Aarons, again, like Hanley, has completely pushed him over. Now that to me was a cast iron penalty, and I will not accept any other opinion than that as far as I'm concerned. Kevin Friend had a diabolical game. There is no two ways about it. Now to the two contentious decisions at Leeds. The first one, Dan James breaks through, clear push by the Watford player, definite penalty, not given, not referred, not given on VAR. Simon Hooper got that one badly wrong. And then there was a free kick that was given to Leeds on VAR. The ball had been bundled in. I think it had been bundled into the net anyway, after a mistake by Meslier. But personally, I'd have given the goal possible penalty because the Watford player was impeded, not the Leeds player. And for some reason, Simon Hooper and his mate on VAR decided not to give it. So both Leeds and Watford were done by some horrible refereeing there from Simon Hooper. And then to Sunday, Paul Tierney. To get a gig as big as that, when you've got two of the biggest teams at the moment in Europe, fighting each other at the top of the table, two of the best teams in the country, if not Europe, fighting it out to get 3 points at Anfield. Man City, Liverpool, Man City. Let me just, before I go on to the contentious decisions, what a super second half it was, and it was good to see some great football being played, and both sides were credit to the game. But I'm afraid Paul Tierney will be remembered for potentially the wrong reasons. There was an incident where Foden had got towards the area. It was 50-50 whether it was a penalty or not. There was a definite push by Milner, and I think it should have been given as a free kick, and Milner should have gone in the book. Now a little bit later on, Milner does go in the book for a professional foul, and then at 1-1, I'm trying to think who it was again now. Bernardo Silva's going down the left hand side, and Milner knows exactly what he's doing. He's took out the man. It's a professional foul under the letter of the law. It's a yellow, which would have been Milner's second yellow, and he was sent off. Now one can understand, and I did the commentary that day, and I can tell you that Pep Guardiola was justifiably angry, and I think he has every right, in my opinion, to be very, very vexed by that decision, because I thought he actually picked up a booking for speaking out of turn to fourth official Mike Dean. But VAR should be able to overturn that. That was clear and obvious. Most of these decisions, by the way, that I've been talking about are clear and obvious errors. Now, they've been Now the problem I've got with the refereeing paternity right now, they ask for respect. We try to give it respect, but when they don't do the jobs properly or they don't see the obvious decision, this is where we as fans and as commentators and as pundits and whatever, we have to give them a lot of criticism. And they have to come out, and I'm sorry, but they can, but I think the powers that be now, the FA, the Professional Match Association, or whatever they call themselves, the POGCO, or whatever they call themselves, who run the referees, have now got to start coming out and actually telling these referees, right, you've got to do the press conferences. I'm sorry, but we need explanations as to why these referees are making mistake after mistake after mistake, week after week after week. It's absolutely preposterous. Kevin Friend, and Paul Tierney are just 3 examples of poor refereeing. I've seen Anthony Taylor. I mean, you can look back to the Euros where the worst refereeing performance was one of our own. Anthony Taylor in the Italy-Austria game. He was just, honestly, I did the commentary of that game for the TC Hub, and I'm telling you now, his performance was shocking. It was shocking, and the only decision he actually got right was for VAR to disallow. That team of officials got right was for the VAR man to actually disallow, quite rightly, the Arnautovic goal. But there was a clear free kick in the build-up to that, what Italy should have had. But Austria were persistently fouling. Arnautovic should have been sent off because he kept on fouling. He got booked in the very first minute, but kept on persistently fouling. Some of it was on borderline dangerous, and he should have been sent off. He should have had 2 yellow cards before the first half was out, absolutely for sure. And Anthony Taylor, I mean, he was a hero in the summer as well for what he did with Christian Eriksen. That was a great thing what he did. But as a referee, I think he's a liability. I really do think that. And you know, Mike Dean, another one. He's a celebrity referee. You know, he likes to referee things his way and all that jazz. But he's another one who's made so many poor decisions over the last few years. It's unbelievable. And I don't think these guys understand what's at stake here in the Premier League. This is big money we're talking about, £160 million. That Burnley Norwich game, right now, if this had been the last game of the season and he made those rickets and Burnley been relegated because of it, Kevin Friend would never been able to show his face in Burnley again, for sure, because he made simple mistakes. The Kroll one especially, he made basic mistakes. You know, they're fast tracking these referees. They're not getting the training. I think the professional match game officials, whatever they call themselves, they need to review their standards, because their standards is shocking. Is it any wonder why the last World Cup FIFA did not ask for any English referees and officials? Because they're all rubbish. They are not fit for purpose, the current crop. Maybe Michael Oliver, but the rest of them, they're not good enough. Lee Mason's not good enough. Anthony Taylor's not good enough. Kevin Friend, certainly one of the worst of the breed. Mike Dean's not good enough. You know, we have to make these officials accountable for their mistakes. Now, if we made mistakes in a factory, or we made a mistake in a care home, or we made a mistake in a kitchen, which led to someone getting food poisoning, we would be hauled up in there and made to explain our reasons as to why. Now, why can't the referees and officials come out in a press conference after every football game and explain away their actions and their decisions in a game? Because we need to know why. Whether it's right or wrong, come out and admit the mistake, or explain why you made that decision. It might anger a few supporters, but come out, be honest, and do the right thing. Players and managers have got to do press conferences after the match. Why can't referees? I think the refereeing standards in this country are shockingly poor, and I think the game needs, and as I said at the start, it is a very difficult thing to referee. a football match. It's very difficult sometimes, but it's not. But these mistakes that I've been talking about weren't difficult decisions. They were basic errors of judgment by both referee and VAR referee that could have been eradicated and could have come to the right conclusions. End of story. But I must reiterate the fact that it is a difficult job, but you've got to have nerves of steel. And I don't think these referees are good enough. I really don't. What I would like to see happen is to see some of the ex-professionals have a go at refereeing themselves and get them refereeing at the top level, because that way you get far more respect, you get far more games flowing better because they played the game. These charlatans who are refereeing now, and they are charlatans and they are imposters, quite frankly, by Michael Oliver to a certain extent, right? They need to be sacked, or they need to improve greatly, because their performances in recent weeks of the season have simply not been good enough. Not been good enough by half, and it's ruining a great product at what we call the Premier League. And for God's sake, and a message to FIFA: change the offside law, will you? I don't like the idea of a player's offside, let the game continue until the ball's out of play, and then play for offside. If he's offside, put the flag up. Ridiculous. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. Stay tuned, because we've got some international football coming up on JB Sports via the Commentary Hub. We'll have Republic of Ireland. We'll have a double header for you with Nicholas Jones and Russ Vernon this weekend. Saturday, we'll have Nicholas commentating on the Republic of Ireland for you for an earlier game, and then at 7:45, well, at 7:30, 7:45 kick-off, Russ Vernon will be commentating on England's away match in Andorra. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.